The Coolest Christmas Tree in Town. A short story by Dan Farrow. Grandpa opened the door and stepped inside as a few flakes of snow swirled about. "Ho, ho, ho," he called, and Mom came out from the kitchen. "Ben," she called upstairs. "He'll be right down, Dad." She came closer and said quietly, "He's been down. I hope the secret project of yours will cheer him up." "Well, it should," said Grandpa as Ben came down the stairs. Ben already had his coat on. "You got a good warm hat?" asked Grandpa. "Sure do," said Ben as he pulled a knitted hat over his bald head. The chemotherapy had taken his hair, and in this weather he knew that he needed something especially warm. Grandpa smiled. "Are you ready for our special project?" "I don't know. I guess so," said the 9-year-old. "We'll be back in a few hours," said Grandpa to Mom as they headed out the door. It was warm inside Grandpa's old red Jimmy as they pulled away. The fresh flakes were putting a nice sparkling coat of white on the old dirty snow. They rode in silence for a few minutes, making their way to the other side of Boyne City. "So, Ben, what have they told you about your situation?" asked Grandpa. "The drugs they're giving me should cure me," he said. "That's right," said Grandpa. "But do you understand how cancer works?" "Not really." "Well, when we are born, every cell in our body has a set of instructions that tell it how to grow and what to do. Cancer is when those instructions get messed up." "How do they get messed up?" Lots of things can cause problems. Chemicals in the food, in the water. A cosmic ray could have come all the way from the other side of the universe and hit just the right spot. Somehow, some kind of energy affected those instructions, and now some cells are misbehaving. Instead of growing like they're supposed to, they're out of control, causing all kinds of problems. "It's like they just don't know any better," said Ben. They did, but they don't anymore, I guess. That is a good way to put it. "So the chemo is going to kill those cells, and then they'll be gone," said Ben, "and then I won't be sick anymore." "That's the plan," answered Grandpa as they pulled into a parking lot full of Christmas trees. "Mom says we can't afford a Christmas tree, and we don't have room for one anyway." "That's not going to stop us," winked Grandpa as they got out of the Jimmy and walked over to the fire at the edge of the lot. The attendants were standing there, stomping their feet and smoking cigarettes. They looked up at the old man and the thin boy. With a glance, they could see the boy's condition. The hat didn't cover everything. "Fellas, I want your ugliest Christmas tree. I want a tree that no one else wants, a tree you probably can't sell," announced Grandpa. "A Charlie Brown Christmas tree," they answered. "Exactly. The proverbial Charlie Brown tree." "You can have this one of the men said, pointing to a small one that sat beside a pile of firewood. "How much?" asked Grandpa. "You can have it. We were just going to burn it anyway. Nobody's going to buy that poor little thing." "All right," said Grandpa. The tree was scraggly and the limbs at the base were bent and crooked. "Okay, sport, let's get it on the truck." Grandpa had some short ropes, and they began tying the tree down to the luggage rack on the roof. He carefully tightened the knots, making sure they were perfect. "Aren't we going a little overboard with these ropes?" asked Ben. "We're only going a couple miles, right? Where are we taking it?" "We're taking it here, there, and everywhere. It's not coming off, not for a while anyway. Hopefully." "What, are you going to drive around with a Christmas tree on your roof?" "You are a smart kid. Your mom told me. And you're a little crazy, maybe, he laughed. Let's see. They got in the car and drove away, the branches squeaking softly on the roof. They could smell the resin on their gloves, and Ben felt his wrists begin to itch. Use some of this liquid soap. There's some paper. Nasty stuff. Won't do my paint any good. Cigarettes are another way to put energy into the system and mess things up, he continued. I know, said Ben. Carcinogens. That's a pretty big word for a kid your age, said Grandpa. A kid your age shouldn't know words like that. It's a dirty word? Yeah, it is in a way. So don't smoke. They pulled into the park that was right in the middle of downtown. People were coming and going from the stores. In the shop windows, the lights sparkled, and the model trains ran on tracks that weaved through porcelain villages. Grandpa began adjusting the tree so that the deformed limbs lay flat on the roof, out of sight. Here, take these lights out of the box and stretch them out a little. They began to put the lights on the tree. People would stop and say, Hey, aren't you supposed to put the lights on at home? Grandpa would laugh and answer, Oh, really? Well, we might as well finish what we started. Merry Christmas. So Ben, this tree has instructions inside it, just like you. I'd say something went wrong on those lower limbs. The instructions got crossed up and things didn't turn out quite right. Grandpa was securing the lights to the limbs with plastic tie wraps. They were ready to throw this tree away, burn it up in the fire. It's looking pretty good now. It sure is, agreed Ben. How are we going to plug in the lights? We're going to use this little box right here. It's called an inverter, and it plugs into the lighter. It gets us AC for the lights. Ben helped him snake the cord through the back door and into the silver box. From 12 volts DC, the Jimmy, to 110 AC for the lights. And I'm loving these super efficient long life LEDs too, let me tell you. Let's try it, said Ben. Well, hold on just a minute. Let's talk about safety issues first, said Grandpa as he brought out a fire extinguisher from the back seat. When we put lights on a car like this, we have to be careful. If we put too many lights on, we could distract other drivers and cause accidents. And we can't be using blinking lights either. They could be mistaken for turn signals, maybe. We certainly don't want the police pulling us over. That's why everything has to be roadworthy. Can't have the tree getting loose or the lights coming off, so help me check everything. Ropes are tight? Lights are squared away? Yep, said Ben. Now we also have to think about the fact that we're running 110 volts around on the Jimmy. No cuts in the wires or other problems. That could make for a shocking experience. Aha. Okay, so what's with the fire extinguisher? Christmas trees are flammable. This one is fresh. And outside like this, it should stay fairly fresh. In a house, you have to set them in water, but we don't have to water this one. It's getting plenty of snow. But they all die and dry out eventually, and let me tell you, if a dry one catches fire, well, they burn really fast and hot, and you can kiss your house goodbye. So we're playing it safe. I don't want to lose my truck. When we turn this on, just in case there's a spark, we'll be ready. You'll be ready, because I want you to man the extinguisher. I don't know how it works. It's time you learned, said Grandpa as he showed him how to pull the pin and aim the nozzle. You need to know how to put out a fire at home, too. You know where the extinguisher is? Yeah. What if the tree catches fire when you're driving? We'll have two choices. Pull over and put it out with the extinguisher, or go faster. Go faster? Yeah, if we go really fast, the fire will burn out quickly. The airflow will keep the roof from getting scorched, theoretically. They laughed as Grandpa added, That would be an interesting thing to see, wouldn't it? Now, that would probably get us pulled over, I imagine. Hey, you know another thing that's a carcinogen, and it seems like everybody uses it, and this one no one talks about? I don't know. Sugar? Good guess, maybe, but I was thinking about... I'll give you a clue. People drink it at Christmas. Hot chocolate? Not hot chocolate. Eggnog. You're getting close. Alcohol. Alcohol is a carcinogen, and people don't talk about it much. Especially for women, but men too. So don't smoke, and don't drink anything with alcohol in it. There you go. Am I, or am I not, the most responsible grandfather you ever heard of? Well, yes, except for the part where we put a loaded Christmas tree on the roof of the truck. Loaded? Loaded. I like that. Ready? Aye, aye, answered Ben. Flame on, said Grandpa as he turned on the inverter. It squealed for a moment with a high-pitched whine, and then the lights came on. People were standing around watching. They applauded, saying, "Wow, looking good." Grandpa made a few adjustments to the lights. "You can't really finalize it until the lights are on," he said. "Ready for some fun? Let's go for a ride." They jumped into the Jimmy and began driving around. People on the sidewalk would point and laugh. At the stoplights, the people in the other cars would stare and smile in wonderment, and sometimes the drivers would flash their lights or honk their horns. "You've got the coolest ride in town, Grandpa," said Ben. "Yes, we do," said Grandpa proudly. They rode all over town for an hour, looking at the lights on the houses. They could see the reflections of themselves in store windows. The tree on top of the car looked like a giant arrow going down the road. "These Christmas trees are dying trees," mused Grandpa. "It's an interesting concept. They die in front of us, right in our homes, symbols of our own fate, perhaps, and ironically, a reminder of birth and rebirth, our greatest Christmas gift." Ben said nothing. "You can tell your mom I said all that. You don't have to, but it's good to score some points with Mom, isn't it?" "You got it, every word." "Now I'm really in trouble," he replied, and they both laughed. They were almost home. "In a few weeks, this tree will come down and we'll put it out back. Next July, when we have our 4th of July bonfire, we'll give it a proper Viking funeral, sort of. But for now, our tree, the tree that nobody wanted, will be seen and enjoyed by far more people than the average Christmas tree." "Hundreds, thousands," answered Ben. "Hundreds of thousands," said Grandpa. "Let's go viral." They pulled into the driveway, and Mom came out on the porch to admire their handiwork. As Ben began to open his door, Grandpa leaned over. "You see, Ben, it's not what you're born with, or how the instructions work out or don't work. It's all about doing the best you can with what you've got while you can." "That was fun, Grandpa," said Ben. "You want to go riding around again tomorrow night? Let's hit Petoskey and show 'em how it's done." "As soon as it gets dark," said Ben as he joined his mother on the porch. They watched as Grandpa backed out and drove down the street, the fresh snow crunching beneath the tires and Christmas lights receding in the distance. Ben turned off his computer, stood up, and looked out the window. Everyone else had already left the lab, and the holiday lights were starting to sparkle across the campus. He felt a great sense of satisfaction. His work on targeting tumors with modified immune cells was showing great promise. It was time to go home. They had already put up a nice tree in the living room, but he had promised them all something special this year, now that the kids were old enough. Tonight was the night, and they were waiting. He had the inverter, and he had the lights. They would find another small tree that no one wanted and tie it firm and fast to the roof of the car. He would tell them about Grandpa and how during the darkness Grandpa's wisdom had made a difference. He would speak to them about hope and promise, and then he would show them how to have the coolest Christmas tree in town.